SUSTAINOW is a project that aims to ultimately improve the acceleration of renewable energy that meets concerns and ambitions related to a secure energy system, cheaper electricity or energy provision in Europe. We see a big gap in terms of data, availability of data and how it's scattered across countries. Another thing is related to how we conduct our assessments. We've progressed on certain tools like the environmental impact assessment and to some extent the strategic environmental assessment for a number of years. But there are still certain aspects that we are not good at. Some is related to LCA data, some is related to other types of data on socioeconomic impact, etc. The political level is outlining huge ambitions for expansion of offshore wind, and at the same time we are not really there where we are comfortable with the level of decision support that we are providing. So we might end up with unacceptable impacts for nature and for local communities if we are not improving on the data and on the methods we use to support offshore wind decisions.
I think there are technical and non-technical barriers to the development or the current development of offshore wind, and the technical ones are related more with the infrastructure readiness, all that site infrastructure that is needed for the developers start building their projects. Then you have non-technological barriers that are more related with the regulatory context, with the licensing procedure. This is something that can hurdle the whole process and gives uncertainty to the developers. So there are delays that could be avoided if other conditions were set for the sector.
Whenever you have to make a decision, it's pretty good that it's data-based, based on facts. Where we are now is that the facts, the data are shared in many different platforms, which makes it virtually impossible to make the right decisions. SUSTAINOW is gradually building up an infrastructure where it's a lot easier to share data. Data has to be available almost immediately after they've been collected, otherwise other people cannot use them.
Many tools often are developed from a disciplinary perspective, while real-world decision-making are often cutting across different domains like social, environmental, technical aspects. Usability is not about dumping down science. It's about making science and knowledge actionable. Decision makers need an integrated understanding of how their decisions actually impact on sustainability.
If people hear sustainability, they think about CO2. Or maybe still about other greenhouse gases, but there's much more to it. The method of life cycle assessment which we are using is analyzing a lot of emissions and resource uses besides CO2 and other greenhouse gas emissions. In this project, also the local environmental impacts, which are much harder to tackle, are the center of the attention. And of course, it also needs the life cycle impacts, including carbon footprints, as a balance to it. That's our responsibility within this project.
Cumulative effects basically explains how the effects of multiple projects combine. In the context of wind, a particular project can have localized impacts or effects, while different projects interacting in the same area will have broader and more significant effects. SUSTAINOW will aim to develop a cumulative effects assessment framework, and in this way will ensure that planning decisions and project development decisions are informed by the very robust evidence base.
In the SUSTAINOW project, we promise to do prototypes of tools that can help improve the sharing of data across countries and improve the support on how to design the design choices involved in offshore wind farm development. Hopefully we will also do something that within the project period is actually leading to so good results that key actors within the field will take on their shoulders to continue working in this direction.
I think it's always great to see how all these different impacts can be integrated. And now it's finally a project in which there are experts on all of these impacts put together. And we're just really looking forward to seeing what comes out of it.